today is International Youth Day 2020.
We all know that youth engagement is very important inside and outside the church. However, we haven't really seen many youth taking ownership of their own future and leading the way for themselves and the generations to come after them. Why is youth engagement so important?
If we don't have youth involved in church, like we have an old church, and if we have an old church, we basically have a dying church. Like our church can't grow, can't move, can't do anything if we don't actually have young people who are active and involved.
It's important to have youth engagement in the society as well, because obviously the decisions that we make as young people now are affecting us in the future, and we will be the ones to, carry on essentially the economy and things that are going on now, especially with a lot of the movements that are going on now. A lot of young people are getting involved.
Youth in society, I feel like there is a lot more engagement in terms of voting and stuff like that, because there's a greater sort of recognition in terms of how their decisions impact them for the future. But I don't feel like it's translated into a church atmosphere or setting, and how their decisions can influence the way churches run.
So we had the program Hand Lost Their Voice, where we gave the young people opportunity to voice any concerns that they may have when it comes to youth taking up leadership and speaking up inside church. We did come to the conclusion that the youth have got a voice, they just need to be able to utilize it.
Sometimes as youth we feel like we can't do things in church because we don't match up to people's expectations, but it's important to be who God calls you to be and not who other people expect you to be.
I mean, when we look at young people's mentalities compared to those of the older generation, it's totally different. We've got a totally different mindset. We see things totally differently. And I feel like young people have more of a growth mindset instead of a fixed one, which is very important within the society that we live in today. Things are changing constantly every single day. Even within the church, things are changing. And we need those that have a growth mindset, that can adapt and that can be creative and think outside of the box. These are the most important people that we need to be the driving force in our society and in our church as well.
I feel like using that whole growth mindset, I think that there are people who feel a bit threatened when you suggest change, and I honestly feel that could be a reason why so many of our young people feel a bit disaffected in terms of like how they actually their voice is being heard in and of itself in the actual church. So I really like Romans 12 verse 11, and in the New International Version it just says, "Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord." And I feel out of all the different groups, young people definitely have the potential to have the most zeal. So if we really were to take this text on board, we literally could do so much more than we are currently doing.
1 Timothy 4 verse 12 says, "Let no one despise your youth, but set the believers an example in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity." Young people, we are the future. We need to use our voices and we need to lead.
With such an army of workers as our youth, rightly trained, might furnish, how soon the message of a crucified, risen, and soon coming Saviour might be carried to the whole world. As young people, we have a duty in it. We have the duty. And there's a lot of us that are doing stuff. If we just come together as youth, not necessarily physically, but mentally, like our mindset is the same, and we literally just use our influence in the same direction, same positive influence, we could do so much for our society, for church, and yeah.
The more youth we have engaged, the higher the chance that we can make a change. Not just enough to have a few youth standing up and taking ownership of their future. We need more young people that are actively participating in work inside and outside of the church. There's no more time for us to be in the shadows, in the background. It is now time for us to take up our lanterns and to start moving forward.